My major turning point was when I realized I couldn't be both a Christian and a feminist anymore.
It was really just an average day. It didn't feel like a big day or anything. I was sitting in my bedroom and I was listening to a podcast, and they weren't really even talking about feminism. They were talking about vocations. It just kind of happened. It felt like a fluke, I guess, where this sort of epiphany almost struck me like a bolt of lightning. There was a lot of things that I had come to the realization that I couldn't believe anymore.
The last thing I really struggled with was whether or not women should be pastors the way my feminist peers were pushing for.
I knew that the Bible said it was wrong, but I didn't understand why it would say that. As a Christian, you're called to serve your neighbor. And they were talking about, how do you know who your neighbor is? And they said, well, do you have a husband? Then your vocation is to be a good wife. Do you have a wife? You're called to be a good husband. And in all of those vocations, we're called to die to our sinful flesh and to preach the gospel to these neighbors that we have and to these people that God has given us in our lives. We're called to different things. In Genesis 3, and in the fall, men and women are cursed differently. Men are called to toil. They have to work. They have to provide for their family. And women are cursed. Normally people just think of childbirth, but there's more than that. God says your desire will be for your husband. And really in the English translation, it would be better translated as you're cursed to want to be over your husband. And all of a sudden I went, oh my gosh, if I'm gonna die to my sinful flesh wants to be the boss of my husband. My sinful flesh wants to get up on stage and tell everybody, all this stuff and be in charge of, the church and, boss people around. And right there in the Bible, we're cursed differently. And that's what it came down to, was that it's not that we can't, it's not that, we physically are unable. It's that we're not called to be pastors. It was a major turning point in my life. And actually, in a lot of ways, I'm much happier now. I feel a lot more at peace. I feel a lot more able to do the things that I'm called to do and the things that I want to do.